Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another YouTube video. So today we're going to start by talking about the weekly closes across the board, and then we're going to discuss the fact that rate cuts are coming this week. And sorry, my chair's so squeaky. Rate cuts are coming this week, and what could happen this week, and then look at the future. So to start with, and some liquidity as well. So to start with, total market cap of crypto had the highest ever weekly close last week or this, well, yeah, on Sunday. As you can see, closing above previous resistance. It's bullish to me. It's signaling a bullish, larger time frame perspective. Total 2 also had the highest ever weekly close, as you can see here, this week on Sunday, which is yesterday. Again, I think it's bullish, although you can argue obviously bearish divergences with the lower highs, in the RSI and higher highs in price action. I think that the majority of weekly candles that are green are supported by big volume. I think that we keep breaking above key resistance levels, and have now officially entered price discovery for the first time for Total 2 this cycle. So that's also bullish. Total 3, however, did not get that close above the highs. Maybe we consolidate a little bit further, or maybe this week is something that will send us there. So what am I looking at in the short term? Let's look at the short term. This week we have obviously rate cuts coming on potentially on the 17th. There's a 93% chance that we get a 25 basis point rate cut. I think about 12% chance at this point that we get 50 bips. So yeah, 0.25 or 0.5 cuts. I think obviously being a 93% chance we'll probably get 0.25. It's going to be important to see what Jerome Powell says at this point. Bitcoin is in this period where we've been highlighting for a long while that this is the most likely area to reverse in this area. We do have this liquidity sitting below us at 106k with a bit extra starting to gain below there. However, there is liquidity above us, but on the hourly, I really don't know where we go here. Like, I discussed this week, and I said, look, I'm pretty neutral around the rate cut day itself. I can see an argument for two different ways to play this. One is like the last few days, or like yesterday and today, or the start of this morning, is if we just look at alts generally, is that everything's like bleeding out a little bit against Bitcoin. I discussed this yesterday. Everything's like bleeding a bit against Bitcoin here. A bit, and yesterday we bled as well. And is this because people are like taking profits into the rate cut week, expecting volatility, or trying to preempt that other people are going to take profits into rate cuts? That's one suggestion, and then that could mean that we have a little bit of a deeper drawdown. Or two, are people trying to preempt that people are going to take profits for rate cuts, but is that actually the drawdown itself? I feel like the market itself feels very negative. I felt this the whole time, like we haven't felt euphoric. For a few days last week, maybe on Friday and Saturday over the weekend, or Friday specifically, it felt pretty exciting. I'm in a Doge long, as you guys know, at the minute. And Doge was pumping, and Doge had a nice weekly close. We confirmed weekly breakout or higher high for Doge on the weekly. Not really pushed up too much in terms of RSI on the weekly, and the volume was pretty good to support that. However, like the last few days, as I've said, since then, we have seen a bit of a drawdown. That's true. So from the highs right now, Doge is currently down about 12%. And it does feel awful. It genuinely feels awful, like it was euphoric here, and now all of a sudden it feels awful again. Key area of support probably at this sort of level, 24-ish cent. For Doge, if you were looking to add to that position or enter, I'd say 24 cent if we get offered that. Would be a very fair area to be adding somewhere in here. Look, should act as a support realistically if we can get into there. So about 24.6 to about 20, potentially all the way down to about 22 cent would be key areas of support there for Doge. So if you're looking to add or getting on that position, that's where I personally would be adding. Whether we get offered that or not, again, I don't know. As I said, I think that there's an argument for crypto to have a few days of chop here. It could pull back, but I also think that a lot of crypto Twitter are sidelined, and you get in major voices in the space such as Ansem calling for the top and then doubling down on his thoughts. If we look at ETH even, for example, from the highs, yes, it's had a bit of a pullback. It's not the correct fib, I was just playing around with it. From the highs, it's had a bit of a pullback. Look, 3 days of pulling back. But on the pullback days, the volume isn't that high. And yes, granted, the last few green days, the volume hasn't been that high, but there really wasn't much in regards to volume on the days that ETH's pulled back. And it's just chopping around retracements. Now, could ETH come down as far as this level here? Definitely, definitely possible for us to see a bounce, which would be around the 4,400 level. But getting to ETH on the liquidity, we do know that ETH has this liquidity below us. The discussion is whether we sweep this liquidity below us or not, guys. That's the discussion. Right now, there is an argument, look, to say that ETH could continue higher with liquidity building above us, but this red area of liquidity still sits below us here on Ethereum at around between $41,030 and $42,130 and $4,200 is where there is that big bulk of liquidity, with the second batch around 4,000. But we're seeing liquidity build above us as well. The thing that I'm watching for pretty much is to see a lot across most altcoins is to see if we lose like this level here and then continue to just step down, because we've got these areas of liquidity that I'm going to show you back on trading view, so it's a bit less messy, he says, and then his chart's really bloody messy. And what we'll do is we'll just bin some of these drawings and just show you what, I'll keep that on there, and I'll show you what I'm looking at in the short term. I'll take us down to the hourly to discuss this. So what we're seeing is big volume coming in on the red candles, suggesting that bears are currently in control, and these areas will be where there is liquidity sitting. So there's some there, all of this here, this is all liquidity that could be taken, and then again like into this area here probably as well. So like I do think that ETH, there is an argument for ETH to say, look, it could come down into this support area here. That's what I'd be looking for, and I think that kind of message like aligns with most altcoins right now. I think Doge, this could be a key area of support. Like liquidity could be in here before this next move up, and I presume where people get more aggressive on the late longing. So that's what I'm looking for basically across altcoins. Are we going to get this sort of drop? And if so, where does it come? XRP, I actually do think XRP, this is XRP on the weekly. I'm going to show you this, and then we're going to go back to this chart that we're looking at right now, which is the hourly. The weekly XRP chart looks like this. We actually closed above this recent like swing highs, or the highest close that we'd had on the weekly time frame. I think it's ever. Let me just check that to make sure. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to go back to the chart we were just on. The highest ever weekly close that we had was back in January this year, 20th of January this year, and we have closed just above that level again now, and also closing above the start of our candle 2 weeks ago. So I also said that this means that we have confirmed a bullish breakout on this downtrend. It's not massively exciting. It wasn't supported by huge volume, and we didn't get a massive confirmation of a break, and we're still waiting for the RSI to switch bullish. But if we take us down to the hourly, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. I'm going to take some of these drawings off now, just so you can see what I'm looking at, the hourly time frame. What we can see for XRP is, I talked about those liquidity levels, and we have actually swept them on XRP, and we keep bouncing off them. So we are like dropping into that liquidity and bouncing so far for XRP. Whether we come down and take this liquidity here is potential. There's going to be a lot building up, I would guess, at this 293 level. And if we go to the hourly on XRP and the liquidity pools, let's see what we can see there as well. I haven't actually checked this morning, so I'm doing this with you guys at the same time. So it seems that XRP still has its main bulk of liquidity sitting above us at 339, 340, with still some liquidity building below us at about 264. Again, we're in that discussion where what's going to happen this week. I wouldn't be going massively heavily into positions right now until I see some confirmation either way. We placed our longs in Doge, for example, at around 22 cents because of the possibility that we did have a move up like this. You could argue that XRP has just tried to move to the top of the range, swept range highs, and then potentially will go to sweep the lows as well. There, look, we've just wicked above the highs. But then you could also argue that this is the range low, and we did sweep the low and then hit the highs. Do we come back and then re-sweep the lows again? And I honestly do not know. This is what I mean. Is like it's a very difficult area to be buying crypto after this pump. The place where you want to be buying, realistically, in my opinion, are like in here for XRP. Anywhere if we can get into this sort of area, 87 cent. That's where I'd be personally looking to put some buy orders anywhere between 87 cent and 268 with probably a stop like down at 254-ish if you were going to like leverage long it with the take profit up at 340. That's where your best risk to reward area is. And if we continue higher, I'm sure your bags are stacked with spot crypto anyway, so don't try and chase. Just wait. There's nothing really to report on. I do think we go much higher this cycle. I've just shown you that total, that's why I started the video like this, that the total market cap and total 2 are in price discovery with the highest ever closes on the weekly, or we're still waiting for total 3. So whether Bitcoin dominance is the final thing that I want to cover today, whether Bitcoin dominance continues a little bit higher here, it seems to have had a bit of a rally the last few times, like on the 4-hour time frame, essentially the last day or so is what I've been talking about, is that we are seeing a bit of a drain in alts, and then Bitcoin dominance actually taking a bit of this strength back. So what we've been seeing on Bitcoin dominance is some sort of continuation pattern and then a continuing trend. And then I've highlighted significant lows where Bitcoin dominance has like violated that after it's been on this downtrend. And I'm going to draw on this to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Where's my pen? Where's my pen? Here we go. So we had this like continuation, like a ascending parallel channel, broke to the downside. These are the lows as I've highlighted, and then what happened is as we broke down, let me just get this a bit darker so we can see what we're doing. Just give me 1 second, guys. Just for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you. Boom. So we broke down from this ascending parallel channel. We created a low, then we came up and we violated these 2 lows. Like we almost swept them lows before continuing down. Look, and that's why I've marked it with this like this curve here. You can see that's where we violated a low, and then we came down and we set a new low, and then we made this low here, and then we violated that low here, and then we came down, we set a new low as marked here, and then we lost that low, and then we came up and took those lows again. There was another low here. So that's what basically highlighting is Bitcoin dominance at some point soon going to roll over, or are we going to have like a more of a short-term reversal here for Bitcoin dominance? We're going to see some more strength in Bitcoin dominance. It seems to be really pushing like at the time of writing, at the time of recording. The next area of resistance obviously would be this channel, which it might be bounced off the bottom of here. Let's see if that acts as resistance or not. But that's basically what I'm watching this week. I don't think it's a time to rush into any trades. I think if you have a significant pullback across the board, then that's when you should start looking into areas to buy. I've shown you some areas on XRP, for example, where I'd be buying. And yeah, that's essentially everything that I've got for you today. I'm bullish on after this week. It's just this week, I don't know, because of the rate cuts. I think it's massively bullish catalyst, but I don't know if everyone's going to trick themselves out of positions. And with some people taking profits into the week as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with a friend. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the questions section below. If you want to trade on any leverage or want some new exchanges, I've got a link to WeX and MEXC in the description below. Have a look at both of those if you like. They're both non-KYC exchanges, and it's a good way to help me out on the channel. Everything I said is not financial advice, but I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Peace up, A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.